Welcome back, intrepid souls, to HorrorWise. Tonight, we embark on a journey that transcends the bounds of time itself, a journey that unravels the chilling truth hidden behind the pages of history. I'm Alara, your guide through the labyrinth of forgotten tales, and I invite you to join us in Whispers of the Apocalypse, unveiling the dark truth of the Black Plague. Brace yourselves for a harrowing saga of survival, sacrifice, and the relentless pursuit of a truth that dared to challenge the annals of time. Part 1: Shadows of Doom. In the bleak and harrowing landscape of the 1300s, a world plagued by darkness and despair, the tale of a seemingly ordinary village unfolded. Nestled amidst rolling hills and thick forests, the village of Rothburg appeared untouched by the horrors that had befallen the land. Yet, beneath its seemingly tranquil facade, a sinister secret lurked, buried in the annals of history. Amelia, a young healer with a heart that radiated kindness, tended to the sick and afflicted who sought refuge within the village's walls. Her hazel eyes held a flicker of understanding. The villagers' ailments, though attributed to the plague, bore a strange and unsettling resemblance to the undead tales whispered in the darkest corners. Among those afflicted was Thomas, a skilled blacksmith who had once wielded his hammer with strength and precision. Now, he moved with a lethargic gait, his eyes devoid of the spark that once defined him. Amelia's heart ached as she gazed upon him, her instincts telling her that something far more sinister than the plague had taken root. As whispers of the undead multiplied, the village's once closed gates began to creak open, allowing shadows to infiltrate its heart. The streets once bustling with life now seemed deserted, the mournful cries of those left behind hanging in the air like a shroud. In secret, a small group of villagers, led by Sir Geoffrey, began to arm themselves, sensing that the true battle was yet to come. Amelia's unease grew with every passing day, her instincts warning her that the true nature of the affliction was unlike anything she had encountered. She would soon find herself on a treacherous path, one that would lead her to uncover the horrifying truth behind the veil of history, an apocalypse of the undead, concealed by time and rewritten as a plague. Part 2: Unholy Descent. Amelia's journey into the heart of darkness continued, her determination to uncover the truth unyielding. The village of Rothburg had transformed from a haven of life into a realm of shadows, where fear and suspicion thrived like malignant weeds. Sir Geoffrey and his band of villagers had become her allies in this grim pursuit, their resolve echoing her own. The whispers of the undead grew louder, carrying tales of the fallen rising from their graves, their hunger for flesh insatiable. As Amelia and her companions ventured deeper into the woods, they discovered a decrepit burial ground, an eerie testament to the truth they sought to unveil. In the flickering torchlight, the ground seemed to writhe with an unholy energy. Inscribed upon the decaying stones were names and dates that defied the passage of time. They bore witness to an age-old curse that had been silenced by history's ink, the very earth concealing the horrors that had transpired. The realization struck like a thunderclap. The plague that ravaged the land was no mere illness, it was the byproduct of a darkness that had swept across the land, turning the living into the damned. Amelia's pulse quickened as the shadows deepened around them. It was as if the forest itself held its breath, awaiting the moment when the veil between the living and the undead would be sundered. As they pressed forward, their breath mingled with the pungent scent of decay, their steps guided by both determination and dread. Their path led them to the edge of a clearing, where an ancient oak stood, a sentinel of ages long past. Beneath its gnarled roots lay the entrance to a subterranean abyss, a portal to a realm where the undead thrived. Amelia's heart hammered in her chest, her lantern casting flickering shadows that danced like phantoms upon the walls of the cavern. It was within the depths of this unholy descent that the true horror awaited, an army of the risen, their eyes devoid of life, their limbs contorted with an insatiable hunger. As Amelia and her companions locked eyes with the lifeless gazes of the undead, the realization struck: they were not fighting a mere plague, but an apocalypse of the damned. Part 3: Dance of Death. Amelia's lantern flickered, casting eerie shadows that seemed to dance in harmony with the maddened heartbeat of the abyss. The undead army before them moved with a disturbing synchronicity, their movements a twisted ballet of death. Sir Geoffrey's sword gleamed in the dim light, his companions gripping their weapons with white-knuckled determination. As the clash of steel against rotting flesh echoed through the cavern, Amelia's mind raced. This battle, more than a fight for survival, was a testament to the defiance of the living against the encroaching darkness. But with every fallen enemy, the horde seemed to swell, an unyielding tide that sought to drown the world in its relentless hunger. In the heat of the fray, Amelia glimpsed a figure, the source of the affliction that had birthed this horror. A sinister figure, cloaked in tattered robes, stood at the heart of the undead onslaught, its eyes gleaming with malevolent glee. As if sensing her gaze, it turned, locking eyes with Amelia, a gaze that pierced her very soul. Amelia's voice, a defiant cry against the despair that threatened to consume her, echoed through the cavern. Her words bore a power beyond their sound, a power that surged through the bonds of time itself. The figure recoiled, its hold over the undead wavering for a fleeting moment. It was then that a chance emerged, a chance to strike at the heart of the apocalypse. Sir Geoffrey's sword cleaved through the figure's defenses, its blade forged from valor and determination. The creature's form contorted, its grotesque visage twisting with pain. The battle's climax seemed to reverberate through the very air, as if the fabric of reality itself had been rent asunder. But victory was not to be theirs. As the creature's life force flickered, the horde surged forward with renewed ferocity. The cavern echoed with cries and clashes, the dance of death reaching its crescendo. Amelia's heart pounded in her chest, her breaths mingling with the screams and cries that filled the air. The battle raged on, a chaotic symphony of survival and sacrifice. The clash of steel, the scent of blood and decay, the inexorable advance of the undead, all merged into a tapestry of horror that would forever stain their memories. And as the last echoes of the battle faded, the cavern stood as a sepulchre of dreams and nightmares, a testament to the unyielding fight against an apocalypse that history had rewritten as mere plague. Part 4: Shrouded Legacy. The aftermath of the battle left the cavern draped in a heavy silence, a silence that seemed to echo with the weight of the lives lost. The surviving members of the group stood amidst the fallen, their breaths ragged, their faces etched with a mixture of exhaustion and sorrow. The undead horde had been vanquished, but at a cost too high to fathom. As the survivors gazed upon the carnage, a sense of desolation settled upon them, a desolation that extended beyond the confines of the cavern. The truth they had unearthed had shattered their perception of history, revealing the dark tapestry woven with deceit and manipulation. The village of Rothberg had not fallen victim to a plague, it had been consumed by an apocalypse that had been erased from memory. Amelia's heart ached as she surveyed the fallen, companions who had fought side by side, their sacrifice a testament to their determination to protect the world from the horrors that had been unleashed. Sir Geoffrey, his body broken but his spirit unyielding, stood with a gaze that seemed to pierce the veil between the living and the dead. As the first rays of dawn pierced the darkness, the survivors emerged from the cavern, the weight of their newfound knowledge heavy upon their shoulders. They returned to Rothberg, a village forever changed by the events that had unfolded. And as the sun cast its light upon the land, it illuminated the scars left by an apocalypse that history had rewritten as a plague. Amelia's hazel eyes held a determination that transcended time, a determination to ensure that the truth would not be silenced, that the sacrifices made would be remembered. The village that had borne witness to horror would now bear witness to the legacy of those who had fought against the darkness, a legacy that would echo through the ages. And as the winds of time swept through the annals of history, the tale of Rothberg and its battle against the undead would remain an enigma buried beneath layers of deceit and rewritten truths, an enigma that could never be truly forgotten. As the echoes of our tale fade into the shadows, remember that history often conceals more than it reveals. The battle against the undead may have been erased from memory, but its legacy lives on in the hearts of the brave who fought against the darkness. Stay vigilant, dear viewers, for the whispers of the past still linger, waiting to be heard. Until our next journey through the enigma of history, I'm Alara, guiding you through the haunting tapestry of forgotten truths.